What is going on? Today I'm going to be backtesting and journaling. I'm going to do 1 week of data, but I'm going to do it very in-depth. So we're going to start on the daily, and I'm going to show you guys how I journal in-depth with skeletons this time. I'm going to just cut the journaling part out of like taking pictures and all that, and then restart the recording as soon as I'm done with all the journaling parts and as soon as I make the skeleton and all that. But let's get straight into it. So on the daily, what am I looking at? What key levels? All that. So I'm noticing on ES, we have an obvious draw higher being this daily fair value gap. If I can write it out, that'd be nice. All right. So we have this obvious draw higher of the daily fair value gap. 4 hour, we have two massive gaps that we created overnight. So, still looking more bullish. We still have this buy side up here for NQ to target. So both assets have draws higher. I believe, is there a weekly? There is a weekly that we're reacting out of on ES, and is there a monthly on NQ? No monthly. There is, however, actually not a whole lot on NQ, but we do have this daily gap. So both are reacting out of a high time frame gap. Both created even decently high time frame expansion gaps. We now have this little SMT, this little internal SMT right here. Could call it an internal external kind of SMT because it's like the external downside, but it's still overall internal high time frame. I would like to see an open low here into these 4 hours on ideally both assets, unless like ES has a 1 hour or 30-minute above. I'm gonna remove these lines really quick. So yeah, ES seems to be almost disrespecting this 1 hour, 15-minute. We do have this open 15-minute down here. I'm just gonna mark out all of the 4 hours, or I'm gonna mark out this 4 hour intermediate low on ES, and then I will mark out the 4 hour intermediate low here on NQ. And the 1 hour, do we have a 30-minute above? We do have a 30-minute above on NQ, okay. So we have a 30-minute up here on NQ. So this could be a condition if we open up into it. Ideally though, we just open lower and then trade into this 4 hour and get a trade up to it being an agreed upon DOL. But overall, we're still gonna be bullish high time frame, so it doesn't really need to be a condition because either way, even if we respect that gap, like our current DOL will be this 4 hour, but then after we hit this 4 hour, we're still gonna go continue upwards. So I'm gonna mark out these 15-minute fair value gaps. So we do have an agreed upon DOL above on both assets with a 4 hour below on both assets and an obvious draw above on both assets. Leaning very overall bullish here. Like we have no real reason to come all the way down and retest this second bottom gap on either asset. We should use this more premium 4 hour to take us to the daily fair value gap on ES and buy side liquidity on NQ. So I'm going to pause the recording, journal all this stuff, and then we'll go over the journal. All right, so went ahead and journaled it out, took some pictures. Today is the Monday, May 8th, 2023. I am backtesting Monday in May. No news Monday. I went ahead and checked Forex Factory. No news Monday. Got all the pictures in here. I do daily 4 hour, 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute, 1 minute, and then daily bias notes. Today looks very overall high time frame bullish, using the 30-minute above as low time frame condition or agreed upon DOL, depending on if we hit the 30-minute or the 4 hour first. Overall expecting buy side liquidity as a high time frame draw, but low time frame more neutral depending on where price opens to. So now let's get into the backtesting segment. We open higher on NQ, but we don't touch anything on ES, and then we start to run lower. Look, okay. Let me see where the 4 hour is at on ES. Still nothing on the 4 hour. We don't really have a whole lot to go off of down here. There's not even really like a 15-minute down here. I mean, I guess we did tap this 15-minute, but this is like, there's just such a better spot for manipulation. If we did get something like super obvious over here on the 30-second, I might be open to taking it, but like with how choppy this is on a no news Monday, I would kind of want somewhere better for manipulation. So I'll play it out on the 30-second, but we'll see. Yeah. Oh, did we get something? No. Yeah, so at this point, I would still want to go see this 4 hour on both assets because we're proving that these higher gaps can't really hold us up too well. So really just as soon as ES hits this 4 hour, that's going to be kind of my sign to start looking for bullish entries. Couldn't look for anything bearish here because we lacked the true manipulation. ES never tapped this 15-minute above, and there's still a solid reason to go back up to tap this 15-minute before going to the 4 hour. So nothing, I'm not looking at anything specifically right now. I really just want to go see this 4 hour get hit on ES before anything happens. Chopping around. 10 a.m. is probably going to open lower, and then we'll get our entry. That's what I'm hoping for. No, 10 a.m. opens higher. Brutal. At this point, I would kind of want to see NQ resweep the 4 hour intermediate low right here too, because it is now like a closed 4 hour candle. It would just make a lot more sense if we did, but if we don't, I might be able to justify it. It just depends on how good the low time frame structure is when ES hits the 4 hour. We make equal lows right here. That's why I'm not looking for anything, especially not this. Like equal lows with the 4 hour at your stop, that's asking to lose. If you take this trade on live, even on backtesting, if you take this trade in general, you are begging to get your money taken from you. Okay, so we hit the 4 hour. We put in a mini SMT down here. 10:15, so we're aligned with time now. 10:15 does open and give us this lower open. I don't love this SMT because I still would want to go see the low time frame manipulation on NQ again, but if we get like a perfect 30-second here, I guess I wouldn't hate it. It would just be a lot more A+ if we tap this 4 hour again. But not necessary because we did just tap it like 15-20 minutes ago, so we'll see. Okay, so now we're starting to react with an SMT at the lows. This should start to distribute us higher. We have a few SMTs high time frame here. I'm not going to mark them all out, but you can kind of see, like if I throw on the 1 hour SMT from right here down to this candle right here. Then we have a SMT low time frame right here to right here. We have probably a ton of SMTs in this range. I'm not going to mark them all out, but we do have a lot of low time frame SMTs. We have this 15-minute intermediate high to go target on NQ. I look-y maybe could have caught it. No, because there's no sponsor on here. So yeah. Nothing to trade to the 4 hour. I don't hate this like 1 minute 30-second, whatever you want to call it. Like, I guess this is this would be your ideal entry right here. I'm not gonna go replay a candle. I'm just gonna kind of accept that I got in a candle late. But I think I'm gonna take this and take it to the 15-minute intermediate high agreed upon. We shouldn't return past here because if we return past here, we're gonna return to the 4 hour. A 30-second isn't gonna beat, you know, a better spot for manipulation 5 points below it. So I'm just gonna go hold to the highest 30-second right here, or take my 1-to-1 stop at the highest 30-second end. Low-key, I can throw it to right there and just take an even closer 1-to-1. Okay, 1 to 0.3. That's the 15-minute intermediate high, right? Here is the 15-minute intermediate high. Yeah, perfect. So if I'm wrong, we will get a re-entry here. Ideally, you only take 1 trade a day, but this is the kind of situation where, like, live time, I probably wouldn't put funded risk on this. This is definitely an eval trade, though. I feel like it definitely could be better, but I think discretionarily you can justify it because of the fact that we just SMT this, and now we have a double SMT high time frame that should distribute us back to this 15-minute at the very least, probably higher, though, up to this 30-minute on NQ, this 30-minute intermediate high on NQ, and defeat, like, take out all this LR, because if you look at what this 15-minute that we just tapped into is attacking, it's attacking high resistance because the 4 hour, we have a 4 hour intermediate low that's SMT'd, and we have an overall draw higher, and then it is attacking all of this LR, or defending, rather, all of this LR, hop on the 15-minute, defending all of this LR up here, leading to our high time frame DOL. So this 15-minute should get ran through. You very well could justify holding up to this 30-minute for value gap, but at that point, we might end up getting a retrace off of this 15-minute down to this 4 hour again. But this should be a guaranteed 1-to-1. A lot of LR built up. Low-key just a lot of yapping now. I'm gonna hit the position and journal the trade, and then I'll stop by back here and we'll play out the trade. All right, so just finished journaling this. High time frame pre-trade, mid time frame pre-trade, low time frame pre-trade pictures. NQ 10:15 plus 10 a.m. I forgot to mention this. We do have a stacked PO3 right here. So 10 a.m. opens right here. Then we have 10:15 open price right over here. We open lower. You can say that this isn't stacked because 10:15 opens higher than 10 a.m. But we do still overall like manipulate lower with 10 a.m. and then 10:15. Plus with this SMT, ES does have like the actual stacked PO3. Like overall, I'm considering this a stacked PO3. We have an A- rating on this trade. Could be A+ again, like I said, if we would have remanipulated into this 4-hour, but still completely justifiable because we did just mitigate it during the session a few minutes ago. So A- on that. Continuation, high time frame continuation. Entry model, or entry time frame, sorry, is going to be the 32nd, because on the 32nd we get this inversion plus CISD. I just enter a candle late. DOL 1-to-1, high time frame alignment, LR imbalance, intermediate low, intermediate high. ES has the imbalance, NQ has the intermediate low / high. We have LR leading up to high time frame line, basically just taking it to a 1-to-1. It is a long 1.03 RR. I'm just throwing in 10 for both these because that's basically what they are. Notes, displacement sells the deal here. I like the overall DOL being higher, as well as the stacked PO3 and reaction to ES hitting the 4-hour. TP is much lower resistance than stop loss. High time frame aligned. IRL to ERL trade could hold up to the 30-minute until ES hits a high time frame gap, but I'm happy with my 1-to-1 on a non-A+ trade. And then my psych, fire recording the video, yapped about it forever. We do have a CISD on our entry time frame. We have heavy displacement. We have LR leading to the target. And I classify this as true manipulation. Even though this is an SMT technically on our entry, we do still have that true manipulation on both assets where we manipulated into our ideal gap during the session. And we're getting a reaction off the SMT from it. And then if I go over to this, everything else is all good. Notable observations we'll do after, improvements we'll do after. And so let's play. Ooh, all right, I did not mean to do that. All right, let's play this trade out and see what we get. So we start to displace higher. No break even I'm looking at here because this is just all LR. This should get ran. We really should just start to run up here. So I'm not gonna go break even yet. Okay, we continue to run. A little bit of a retest. Now we close above these highs. So now at this point, we've retested this lower range on both assets. We're beginning to displace higher towards my DOL. We have a close above these candles on our entry time frame, and we have solid displacement up. We are basically at my DOL. At this point, I'm fully okay going break even. We should not come back down here again. We have no PO3 that should remanipulate. If anything, if we're gonna go chop around right up here until 10:30, this is gonna be our closest point of manipulation. So at this point, I'm gonna be break even. There's no point of leaving risk on the table. Yep, so just like something like that. Now I'm assuming this is going to run to my stop loss because this is not what I would like to see for my distribution. I would instead like to see a break even, 4 hours going to get hit, and then we'll get our A+ entry. Let's see if that happens. So that is what happens. Break even was very good in this scenario. We should have just ran to my TP, but I was correct. If we retest this range lower, we're going to end up running my stop loss. Okay, so 10:30 opens. This is the 10:30 candle. I'm going to hop back on the 1 minute. And we'll strike this entry to my break even right there for the skeleton. So the 1 minute gets a horrible close, horrible. Everything about like this re-entry is horrible. I would wait until we hit this 4 hour on NQ now because clearly this SMT is showing that we're not going to be strong enough to go hold price up. And I would want to see this SMT hold if I was going to go take a re-entry here. But now I really just want to see NQ tap this 4 hour again. Okay, so now we tap the 4 hour on NQ again. Low time frame SMT. If we get a re-entry here, I would absolutely take it. I don't like that chop, but I'm assuming on the 3 minute, which is our, yeah, so 3 minutes is going to be the highest time frame gap. This candle closes in 2 minutes. So let me play out, let me make sure what time does this one close? 10:42, yeah. So we have 2 more minutes on this candle. Let's see what it closes like. Another fat wick. I would really want to see a displacing candle upward, and I'll take this. Yes, okay. Here we go. So now there's an A+ re-entry. I'm gonna make a different entry for this trade. or actually, matter of fact, I'll just include it on the skeleton. I'm not gonna make a different entry because I'm trying to keep this video somewhat shorter. So, re-entry on this trade, same trade idea. Only thing is now that we have even better alignment with everything. We've now hit this 4 hour on NQ. We've now hit the 4 hour on ES again. We now absolutely have a strong DOL. This trade obviously got break even, but I'm fully expecting this one to play out literally the same idea as the last one, just with better entry standpoints. So let's play this out. Break even is going to be once we take this 15-minute intermediate high, or like the last time where if we start to close above and we retest the range below my entry level. Okay. Retest. I would want to see a close probably above these internal highs again if I'm going to go break even, because right here we very well could still open a 1 minute gap and then just slightly retest below it. We never even hit this fair value gap down here, so I wouldn't hate being in drawdown again, but I would want to see us start to run here, especially, yeah, like we're at a, yeah, I'm still not going to go break even here. There's just no point to going break even yet. Okay, so now we've retested this range again. Now if we start to run, we close above this internal high right here, then I'll go break even. Okay, well, we hit take profit in that same candle anyway. So really good trade. I fully can justify this break even and this win in the same way. Obviously this one was a lot better. So patience does pay here, but break even pays as well, you know, saving the capital. Still a very obvious DOL. And again, like we've retested this range. If we're going to go continue to my DOL, I'm going to be right. If not, you know, solid break even right here. No reason to go stay in the trade. This is like absolutely as A+ as you can get though. Like a ton of LR leading up to this 15-minute intermediate high. We probably will end up running to this 30-minute fair value gap, but I'll play it out. Let's see. Yeah, you're just stuck with chop. I'm assuming we're going to end up running up there, but I'm not going to play out past the session. So now I'm going to mark out. So here's how I do my skeletons. I've never done a skeleton on camera before. So skeleton, I draw out a line for every 15-minute PO3. So I draw out a line at 9:45, draw out a line at 9:30, draw out a line at 10 a.m., draw down a line at 10:15, draw down a line at 10:30, draw down a line at 10:45, 10:45 right there, and then draw down a line at 11 a.m. This will make more sense in a minute, but it's just kind of so you can see where each PO3 is, like where each opening price is, where like you can kind of keep track of your PO3s a lot easier, and it just keeps price more organized too. Sometimes I'll throw these on my live charts, like sometimes when I'm live trading I'll throw them on, but for the most part I just throw them on for the skeletons. So how do I do a skeleton? First of all, I look through any entries I could have missed for the day. So like basically off this 15-minute intermediate high, did we have an entry? Let's see. Like 15-minute intermediate high right here. Did we have an entry to this 4 hour? Do we have like a 3-minute right there? 3-minute, we do actually have a 3-minute right there. This is probably something that I would be open to taking based off of NQ, but would have been a break-even trade anyway. I'm going to mark it out just for the skeleton though, because this is what I like to do. I like to mark out any possible entry for the day, why I took it / faded it, and then what the outcome would have been, because this, again, can increase your frequency quite a bit. Let me see. Yeah, I'll write out some stuff about that 15 minutes, and then this is the trade that we took. This is the trade. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to pause this recording again, write out all my notes, and then we'll go over my notes for the skeleton. All right, so not the prettiest skeleton ever, but let's go over it. So 9:30 opens higher into this 30-minute on NQ, lacks true manipulation on ES, and respects the 30-minute on NQ. No valid entry that I can see myself taking here. We then chop down to the 4 hour on NQ and chop lower on ES as well. This is just generating liquidity for buy side of our model. Nothing I would really take here. We don't even open a 1-minute gap anywhere, and I wouldn't really want to be on the second chart when we don't have true manipulation. So solid fades for everything right here. 9:45 then opens lower into the 4 hour on NQ. ES does the same, but doesn't hit the 4 hour yet. We then generate LR and eventually run when we get an entry. So some more generation right here. We're now inside of the 4 hour on NQ, and we have not touched it on ES yet. So 10 a.m. opens. We now have this 15-minute gap right here. I can pull it up, but I'm just going to mark it out with my highlight. We have a 15-minute gap basically right there. We retest on NQ. ES taps into an unsponsored 5-minute, and then we are led to the 4-hour off of this little inversion trade right here. I believe it's a 3-minute. Yeah, it is a 3-minute. So 3-minute, we have this little inversion right here. If ES had a sponsored 5-minute and I saw this trade, it would be pretty close to A+. I probably would have taken it and gotten break even, but unfortunately I missed the trade in live time. Definitely justifiable, but I would have went break even here anyway, just to get risk off the table. Especially like right down here, I would have went break even because now we've retested this range up here. We've closed below 2 swings, and at this point I wouldn't really want to go sit through anything else, so it would have been break even anyway. If you held all the way through, you would have gotten your 1-to-1, but not something I would have been open to doing. Now, 10:15 opens and presents us with the first entry that I would take of the day. We SMT the 4-hour intermediate low and get a 30-second IFVG with the CISD and heavy displacement with LR leading to our target. Assuming we re-manipulated the 4-hour on NQ, this would have been A+, but since we didn't, I gave this an A-. Trade ends up break even. Again, I went break even at the close above these highs. 10:30 now opens into the 4-hour on both assets. It gives a 3-minute IFVG on NQ with DOLs higher. Solid displacement, same idea as the last trade, just better mechanically. This trade is, plays out to a 1-to-1 and the rest is session chops. And for 10:45, I just wrote distributes to our DOL as we now have no reason to manipulate lower into the 4-hour again before hitting something above. I'm gonna take a screenshot of the skeleton, throw it in the journal, and then we'll be on to the next day. All right, 2 things here. I do the same thing on ES with these lines for the skeleton. I forgot to include this, but I draw these same lines out. I take a screenshot, throw it in the journal. And then for the journaling part, I forgot to take pictures of the post trade. I'll do that off camera. And then notable observations. Trade didn't play out until both assets remanipulated into the 4-hour fair value gap. Choppy overall, no news Monday. This can be expected. Still ended up getting an A+ trade on a no news Monday. All right, improvements. I would say improvements for here could be more patient, as in waiting for the 4-hour to get remanipulated / waiting for a continuation because of the fact that we don't ever give an A+ setup on the low time frame reversal, high time frame caught. Other than that, I think everything else was done pretty well today. Could have been more attentive to the trades that could have been presented to the 4-hour. Other than that, good overall. And then after every day backtesting or live trading, I give myself a rating. So today I would say I give myself like an A-. I explained my trades pretty well, you know, have a good reasoning for taking and fading trades. I did miss that, you know, potential short to the 4-hour, which would have ended up break even anyway, but I shouldn't be missing those trades. And overall, pretty good trading. I did yap a lot, but A- for the day. I'm gonna take these pictures and then we'll be on to the next day. All right, I did forget to record my overall daily bias for today, so I'll go over that again. I got the journaling aspect of the next day done for the daily bias part at least. So daily bias, what are we looking at today? We have a daily fair value gap and relative equal highs to the upside on NQ and the daily fair value gap on ES. And then we have a daily fair value gap lower on NQ and a daily fair value gap lower on ES as well, but we're already inside of this daily fair value gap on ES. If we scale down a little bit, you can see like 4-hour, we're just pretty choppy on both assets, and then we started distributing lower. Kind of using this daily fair value gap as a condition, or if we hit this 1-hour as a condition. Really just kind of leaning neutral here though. Like overall, I would like to see an open low high close because this external SMT pretty much failing to distribute us higher. I would have liked to see it happen. If we were going to go distribute, I would have liked to see it happen way sooner than right now. So to me, it's kind of looking like we need to go hit this daily fair value gap again. That's pretty close, and mitigate it, and then we'll have a condition. But more than likely, it'll take us up to these relative equal highs. On the 1 hour, we have relative equal highs for this intermediate high, and we just have a 1 hour intermediate high. And it looks like this this SMT right here is distributing us more than this external SMT. So the internal is beating external, meaning we should come back all the way down to this daily fair value gap. 30-minute we scale down again, not too much going on. Same as the 1 hour, just a lot of chop up to this 4 hour. And 15-minute, we do have a fair value gap right here, tiny little fair value gap. I'm not marking it out because it doesn't seem very significant to me. But if we get a reaction off of it, I will be open to taking something off of it. I actually might kind of do that, because then now we can get straight into back testing. Journaling's already done. I might just journal off camera and do my daily bias and explain it. Either way though, here we go. So we open lower into the daily again on NQ, or on ES, open higher on NQ. NQ puts in a fat wick above, and then we start to chop around. So now this is kind of a signature in bad PA. I've noticed that if we're gonna go not open any fair value gaps, like not a single 1 minute fair value gap on NQ, this is more than likely gonna be a choppy session. Still gonna backtest it, but we're gonna see what happens. Okay, we continue this chop. Still haven't opened a single 1 minute fair value gap, so keep that in mind. Like, this is not going to be ideal price action. We're also kind of uncorrelated with NQ opening higher, ES opening lower, and then we're just kind of chopping up to what looks like this 1 hour intermediate high on both assets. We finally, that's not even a 1 minute. Oh, we finally open our first 1 minute fair value gap almost 30 minutes into the session. That is amazing. We actually opened a 30-minute up here, but doesn't really hold very much significance to me because price action has been buns. I would just want to go use this 1 hour intermediate high as a condition at this point, because we have done literally nothing this session to show me where we're going to go. Okay, so we're closing above. We print this fat wick above. This isn't news actually, which is crazy. This is not news. We have no news. Forex Factory, I'll show you right now. Tuesday, May 9th, which is the day that we're backtesting 2023. No news. So if we're gonna go start to close above this on NQ, or on both assets really, and then put in this fat wick, if we get like, I don't know, is this gonna be a 5 minutes? Yeah, so if we get a 5 minute inversion here, I guess I wouldn't hate it, but I would probably want to see something lower at this point. If we're gonna fail to distribute lower, then I'm gonna be leaning more bullish. Man, this is brutal. We do get the 5 minute close on both assets. So, am I gonna take this? Wow. Like, we absolutely have the ability to be bullish here, but we're not. We do kind of have a lack of accumulation on ES, but I think the pros definitely outweighs the cons here. I'm gonna take this. I don't normally take 5 minutes. I think this is gonna be the first 5 minute I've taken this whole backtesting session, and this is like a month of backtesting, but I am going to take this 5 minute right here. My thought process behind this. So we have this 1 hour right here that acts as a condition. We tapped into a daily on ES, but clearly this SMT isn't strong enough to go distribute us because we hit this condition up here and then it's taking us lower again, showing we most likely want it on NQ. We get a ton of displacement out of this 1 hour. We print a fat wick. We're aligned with time. Where does 945 open? 945 opens right here. So we have a stacked PO3. We have LR on NQ leading up to this external DOL. For low time frame, it's external. I'm just going to take it to this DOL, or to this end of the LR right here, because that's still more than a 1-to-1. I am very happy to be taking that. PA is not amazing for today either way, so I wouldn't want to be holding to like an actual DOL, just taking a 1-to-1. If we SMT and I'm above a 1-to-1, I'll probably end up closing my position if ES takes this intermediate low again. But overall, structure is showing that we are still going to be bearish here, because we have every reason to be bullish and we're still rejecting off of bearish gaps. So we're more than likely going to be bearish here before we get more liquidity. I'm going to go ahead and journal and then we'll play out this trade. All right, we're back. Journaling has been completed for this one. One thing I don't know what I was talking about, 9:45, 10 a.m. stacked PO3. 10 a.m. resets the PO3, so 10 a.m. is its own PO3 because now this 15-minute candle is no longer open. That's on me. I don't know what I was talking about, just like subconsciously speaking, I guess. Overall though, really good trade here, really clear AMD structure. We have all of this low time frame accumulation. We manipulate, this is also a 4-hour gap now because of 10 a.m. open. So we now tap into this 4-hour as well as these 1-hour relative equal high, intermediate highs. We get this 5-minute solid inversion with a ton of displacement, and I'm just gonna take it to ERL and let's see what happens. So we start to distribute here. I'm still not going to go break even here because on the 5-minute, like, we just closed our first 5-minute candle. We literally have no reason that we should end up distributing here at all. Like, maybe you could argue this 5-minute intermediate low has any amount of significance, but this 4-hour is going to distribute us lower before anything. Still no SMT here, so still no break even. This is the rough thing about bad PA, because now we're just going to go be in this trade for like probably 20 minutes, but what are you going to do about it? Oh my gosh, bro, what is this delivery? No way this stops me too, that's insane. This is actually crazy delivery. Holy brutal, bro. This is going past session. This is insane. We're about to get another 5-minute. Okay, so we just got another 5-minute inversion right here. We retested above. Once we get a candle closure before these lows, I'm break even either way. If we put in an SMT up here, I guess that works too to go distribute us lower. So I'm not going to go break even yet, but wow, this is insane. I'm going to play this out on the 5-minute to be honest. Okay, we take profit. Finally, bro. That trade literally took how many 5-minute let's just see how long it took. Entered right onto this candle. That trade took an hour to play out. We were in that trade for an hour. That's insane. So again, really bad signature of PA when you don't see gaps opening on the 1-minute right after 9:30, like especially in the first 15-20 minutes of price action. That's insane. But still hit a banger on here, 1 to 2 or 1 to 1.2, sorry. Never put in an SMT at these lows, so never had to go break even. We just started to distribute. Didn't go break even on NQ for any reason because nothing on NQ told me that we would be hitting this 1 hour before my DOL, running all that LR. The only thing that would tell me that would be ES, SMT in this low. And we never got that, so no break even through all this chop because we should just eventually run in my DOL. And I'm going to take high time frame picks, finish the journaling, and then I'll tap back in. Alrighty, so journaling has been completed. I'm going to go over the skeleton and then we'll hop into the next day. So 9:30 opens with chop. This is a signature of bad PA along with ES being uncorrelated. Super bad, but still chopped towards a condition. That condition was this 1 hour intermediate high with relative equal highs. Whenever you see this, you can kind of expect choppy price action for the whole day. As you can see here, we still got an entry, but apart from that, literally straight chop. There was no other entries for me to even draw out here. Like, I don't really even see another justified entry. So, literally nothing else I can even really draw out. 9:45 chops a little more, then finally makes a move to the 1 hour and soon to be 4 hour on both assets. This move opens a 5-minute fair value gap. As you can see here, we had a really strong displacing move. We open a 5-minute. 10 a.m. now opens, manipulates into the 1 hour intermediate high and 4 hour fair value gap on both assets, then displaces lower, inversing the 5-minute on both assets with clear displacement and an abundance of reasons to go lower. I didn't write this here, but some of those reasons were we had an external SMT that should be distributing us. I wrote this here. We had draws higher with those daily relative equal highs as well as a daily fair value gap on ES, but if we're still getting this inversion here, we're probably going to end up going lower. We have like every reason to be bullish here, and if we're still going to respect bullish, or if we're still going to respect bearish and disrespect bullish, we're going to end up being bearish until something more significant. If that wasn't strong enough to reverse price and we are getting this displacement, bullish is failing and we can almost guarantee prices lower. So kind of just restating what I just said. And then I just wrote 1 for 10 a.m. through 11 a.m. because this is literally just sitting in a trade through choppy price action, doing nothing, no key levels or anything. 10 a.m. through 11 a.m. sat in the trade through the choppy PA, no break even as price has no reason to reverse anywhere until my TP or until ES SMT is my lows. Essentially a swing trade, but plays out all the way to TP. And then I journaled how this took over an hour to go play out. Literally took an hour and 7 minutes. And yeah, apart from that, I will see you guys on the next day. All right, it has been a minute. I just came back from like an hour and a half break, but next day. So we are leaning more bullish here, high time frame. You know, we are respecting this daily gap, and we look like we're distributing off of it, disrespecting bearish. But low time frame, I'm still leaning a little bit more bearish because we did just have CPI today. I just journaled all of this. We did just have CPI, so I'm expecting a rebalance. Probably end up maybe even disrespecting this 30-minute, but we're gonna see if we get a setup off anything here, and yeah, let's play out price. Okay, so we open higher, SMT the highs, stop hunt, and tap into the 30-minute. So we SMT that 30-minute. Okay, so now we have true manipulation into the 30-minute. I would want to see ES hit CE probably right around here before we get a trade, if we were going to take something bullish out of it. Okay, 9:45 is about to open. Okay, now we have an SMT'd stop hunt. Displacement off of this, and I might take it, but probably not, because ES just looks like falling knife. This is 5 minutes before 10 a.m. We're probably about to open a 15. No, we're about to open a 15 on ES, not on NQ though. At this point, I want to be leaning bearish here. If we have like a sponsored 5 here, so I guess if 10 a.m. opens into this 5-minute and then we get a continuation lower, I'd actually be down to take it, because then at that point a 5-minute is beating a 30-minute, and it shows that like we're going to be leaning more bearish. I would not want to go take, yeah, so we inverse this 5 minutes. So now I would want to go see a resweep, but this is probably going to be a no trade day. So 10 a.m. opens higher. We almost resweep external. There we go. We resweep external. Like, we're just not really generating any liquidity here. These are the kind of days where you definitely want to go sit out on, because like 9:30 we open, and then we accumulate for literally 2 minutes, and then we dump, and then we accumulate for 10 minutes. And this is right before 10 a.m. and then 10 a.m. just runs all this instead of giving us an entry to run it. And then we just pump, we don't generate at all. Like now, probably end of session, we're just gonna go generate the rest of the session. Typically you can kind of tell where you're gonna trade based on how you're generating liquidity. So like, let's say, let me bring out the path tool. This is low-key gonna be some sauce right here. If you're consistently generating liquidity like this, right, where we're making lower highs, lower lows, right, and you have like 15 of these stacked up, shorting here makes no sense, because think about where your LR is resting. Your LR is resting at your stop, right? You would want to go take a trade to this LR rather than away from this LR. And if you don't have any liquidity to go sweep out, like you're just moving like this, you don't really have any LR to target, right? Like there's no LR anywhere in here. You're just moving up, down, up with like slight accumulation at these lows. Typically, accumulation will tell you when a trade is going to happen though. Like even if it's something kind of unclear like this accumulation, you still have an idea of like, okay, well, we have a ton of swings lower that we can run. We don't really have very many swings above, like assuming this was right there. We don't have any swings above to go run. We have a ton of swings lower to run. A little bit of LR sauce right there. You can kind of just tell how we're generating to see where we're gonna get an entry to. And right now we're not really generating anywhere, so I'm not a big fan of any of these entries. A lot of displacement lower. We have an SMT at these highs, distributing down to a 15-minute on ES. NQ doesn't have anything significant. It's not at all-time highs. It has a daily gap. I mean, I guess like a fresh daily gap, where we swept out these intermediate highs inside of the daily gap. You can argue that we're probably gonna go take ERL here, like discretionarily. You can argue that this is an entry. I personally would not take something like this in live. That's straight up gambling, so I'm not going to take it, but I do think we'll displace lower. Okay, so here, look, LR sauce right here, right? Now we're starting to generate liquidity. We're doing this, and we're just slowly generating trendline liquidity until eventually we break above these highs, and then we get an entry down, ideally, right? Would I still want to take this? ES doesn't really have an amazing key level. Like, we might have a sponsored 5, but you could argue that this isn't even sponsored anymore because it did its objective of, oh, actually, no, it didn't take ERL yet, yeah. So if we resweep external again, I would be kind of down to go take this, but that's asking for a lot. We would need a ton of displacement up and a ton of displacement down, in which we don't get, we just run all this trend line. But you can kind of see what I was saying right there. Like, we're taking out all of these swings above. So now you can kind of expect us to at some point run lower and go run all this trend line, just based on this LR generation. All right, now 1045 opens. We SMT these lows. Like, here's the issue though. We are just moving and moving and moving. Yeah, nothing for me today. I'll play out the last 2 minutes, but yeah, nothing for me today. I was not a big fan. Like, when you have price action like this where we generate in one spot and then we instantly run it before, before tapping into any significant PDA, you can just kind of expect, like, you don't really have to question if these are going to be no trade days. Right here, what kind of LR do we have? Well, it's sideways. We need to go tap into a PDA to be able to go run this so you can have clear AMD structure. We don't ever get clear AMD structure. We get A, and then we get expansion. And then right here we get A. You could argue this is D, but we don't really have a clear fair value gap to inverse. There might be like a 15-second up here that I missed, but even so, like, I'm not really too worried about it. I'm not a huge fan of the 15-second. Yeah, like, you can argue this little 15-second right here is valid. I believe ES had a 15-minute at this point above or something, or a 5-minute, sponsored 5-minute, I don't know. Whatever it had that, you can argue that little 15-second is valid, and you could have caught this little distribution right here. And then again, we generate, you'd want to go see a continuation lower here now because of the way that we're generating this LR. And then we begin to generate like this, and now you would want something where you would sweep out this low right here, and then you would get your expansion. A little bit of LR sauce right there. I'm gonna journal, and then I will touch back in. All right, I just drew out the skeleton for today. There was literally not a single trade that I came in and really go over except for my like discretional play. There was this 15-second, but I'll talk about that in a second. So 930 opens higher, it takes ERL, then begins to distribute lower on both assets into this 30-minute fair value gap. 945 chops inside of the fair value gap, generating liquidity, which then gets expanded off of almost immediately. 10 a.m. takes ERL once again, and then chops and presents a 15-second that I missed. I wouldn't have taken this anyway though, as you can see, like right after this, the 15-second is right here. After this, there is literally nothing to go target. You're shorting into a ton of gaps. Not a single swing level to go take, like not a reason that you would want to go take this. So I sit out of this one. 10:15, we begin to displace lower and can discretionarily assume we will run lower even without an IFVG. I would not take this live market, but it does play out. This is just kind of showing my like discretional input of the market. With how much displacement we have off of ERL in this daily gap up here, even though you can argue that this daily gap all the way to the left is a weak key level because we mitigated it so many times, we still are displacing off of it, and we're kind of failing to go like distribute past it. And with all this displacement and no LR to really run this whole session, I would assume we would want more liquidity to come lower, and you can kind of see the way we generate liquidity. If we're generating liquidity up, we want to go run it and run down. So immediately after entry, we start to generate this liquidity up. This shouldn't really scare you being in drawdown if you see like we're chopping up. In this case, your stop loss is going to be higher resistance than your take profit, as well as you're just generating LR to go run on the way down. Again, not something you should be taking, or I should be taking, or anybody should be taking, because this is purely discretional and essentially gambling. But yeah, don't be scared if this ever happens. Then 10:30 runs into the 30-minute fair value gap again. Shows no reaction. At this point, we can expect to continue bearishness, and 10:45 runs even deeper into the 30-minute fair value gap. Doesn't present us with anything until the session ends, and that is where I'm calling it for the day. I'm going to do live bias for today, and then I'm going to journal, and then we will get right back into it. First thing I'm noticing on the 1 minute is it looks like there's a ton of data wicks, but we're going to start on the daily. So daily, now we're just kind of choppy conditions. Not ideal. We are not opening a single 4-hour gap. We're starting to displace lower on ES pretty heavily. I would expect NQ to follow at the very least a little bit. Looks like we're respecting this 1 hour up here, respecting this 1 hour up here. We're starting to disrespect these bearish 1 hours over here. All these bearish 1 hours are getting disrespected. So I'm going to be leaning more bearish, probably to this 1 hour on NQ and just taking this intermediate low again on ES. Do we have any key levels to go distribute off of? Nothing on the 30 minute on either asset. We do have a 15 minute on both assets though. This is going to be a tiny 15 minute, so it might not hold, but I expect this 15 minute on ES to hold. I'm going to mark this one out, 15 minute fair value gap. This is a 1 hour intermediate low. This is a 15 minute fair value gap. And then we have that 1 hour fair value gap lower. All right, and then on to the 15, we just did that. 5 minutes, not a whole lot. Okay, 1 minute. Here we go. So we definitely have some 8:30 red foliar here with, I'm assuming, some sort of economic news before and after it with all these wicks higher. So a ton of data to go target above on both assets. These data wicks are not SMT'd. So definitely going to be some significant liquidity above. Let's see what that one was. It was core PPI. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then we have FOMC at 10:15. My hours are 3 hours behind, so 10:15 we have an FOMC member speaking. And then 1 p.m. we have a bond action or bond auction, whatever, something. I don't even know what that means. I don't trade 1 p.m. so it doesn't matter. I am going to go journal this and then I will be right back shortly. All right, just finished that. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of backtesting. Let's go. Okay, so we open into that 15 minute and then let's see if we get this one. Is there a 2 minute or 3 minute here? 2 minutes, 2 minute, yeah. If we get a super displacing candle down, I'd actually be down to go take this Judas. Wow. Not exactly what I was expecting by that. And I believe we did just tap into these fresh intermediate lows right there. Yeah, really unfortunate. Can't really do anything about that because you got to wait for the candle closure of this. So even if I was on like the 30-second, let's see. Yeah, even if I was on the 30-second, I would have been break even right now, and I probably would have gotten break even, but unfortunate. Really not much to say here. I don't think we're going to go continue to displace lower. I think we might, but it's just straight gambling and reacting to price at this point. But overall, good idea, just unfortunately not an entry to take lower. The reason I'm not really looking for lower, even though we're continuing to distribute, ES is inside of the most discounted 1 hour. NQ is now taking new liquidity, being these smaller 1 hour gaps. We don't technically have to go take this more discounted gap if we're going to go distribute off an SMT. I wouldn't want to bet on that, but we do end up taking it. It does end up playing out. Now at this point, we do kind of have very clear AMD with data above. So I would be completely open to, like, if we have a 3 minute here or a 4 minute, I would be completely open to taking whatever closes first, maybe even a 5 minute if we get a 5 minute. Wouldn't be my first option, but wouldn't hate it. But it doesn't look like we are getting too much here. 9:45 opens lower. Okay. We resweep. Now if we get an inversion of this, I would not hate it. Just like an inversion on this leg, basically. One more super displacing candle, unless we have a 2 minute right there. We do have a 2 minute, so that 2 minute just closed. We have a 3 minutes. Oh, we do have a 3 minute. What time does this close? So we need another 2 minutes anyway. It's brutal. Oh. 3 minute doesn't inverse, unfortunately. We print a wick. Let's play out price a little bit more. Yeah, it doesn't look like we're gonna get anything. Now 10 a.m. is about to open. We could end up resweeping these lows. I would honestly kind of prefer to go resweep these lows, but then at that point, we're gonna be inversing this 1 hour. You typically don't want to be trading against your key level, so unless we get like an insanely displacing candle right before 10 a.m., Probably going to be looking more bearish with data at your stop. This is just a time where you want to cut risk completely and not trade with conflicting DOLs. That's when most losses can happen. Yeah, so 10 a.m. we now inverse this 1 hour on ES. NQ is inside of this 1 hour still, but at this point you would just kind of want to wait. Maybe look for continuation lower if it's super obvious, but apart from that, you have data at your stop if you're taking shorts. You don't have an obvious DOL really. Like, yes, you have this, what's it called? You have this sell side down here, and you do have, like, I guess you could target filling this 1 hour, but I don't know, not something I would personally want to see. With conflicting DOLs, I would want to see something more obvious, so it's just going to kind of play out price. We are now generating liquidity. There are 15 up here that we've opened. There is a tiny 15 on NQ, not on ES. So not even a good continuation gap. I think we tapped that 15 and maybe like a 5 on ES, and we get that, yeah. And here's that 15 on NQ being tapped. Now with this, let's see what the close is. The close is very nice here. We do get obvious AMD structure. We can expect these external lows even with data being above at my stop. We've now proven bearish by inversing this 1 hour on ES. We have buy side way lower on ES. We could target this fill, just target ERL, whatever, target whatever we can get. 15-minute, so we're aligned with time too, because now 10:15 is opened higher into this 15-minute and into this 5-minute on ES. This 5-minute is unsponsored because this 15-minute has accomplished its job of taking this 1 hour intermediate. However, with all the displacement, I've noticed that you can sometimes discretionarily sponsor a gap off of inversing a high time frame gap, because that is still showing that you're going to go continue lower. We don't have a ton of displacement, but we do have LR leading lower. I don't know, I don't hate this. We do have a CISD with it. It's not A+. This is probably like an eval trade. 1-to-1 is going to be pretty far just because the close is so displacing. You could go like body to 1-to-1, but even then it's still like you're just shooting for a home run, it feels like. Will I take this? Should I take this? Should I take it? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, it's obvious we're going to return to ERL, so I guess I get a guaranteed break even. This is kind of risk-free. I'm going to auto, hold on, let me close this. I'm going to auto break even at whatever this level is, because we don't have to go continue lower past that. Where is it at? Auto break even 372. Price 13,372. All right. I'm gonna journal very quickly, and then I will come back and we'll watch this trade play out. And by journal, I just mean like high time frame pre-trade, put in all this stuff, and I'll go over it in a second, and then we'll watch the trade. All right, just finished journaling. Pictures, obviously, NQ. We have stacked PO3s on this trade. I give it an A-. It could absolutely be better. Like, I'm kind of reaching for a 1-to-1, and I'm not even using this rejection wick. We do have stacked PO3s. I don't know if I already said that. PDI model, because we have this clear A, and then we have this M, and then we have this. Now we're expecting distribution. Entry time frame 2 minute. I'm just targeting ERL, low resistance. Shorting this, just taking it to a 1-to-1, 21 point stop loss, 21 point take profit. We'll put in the win or loss after. For my notes, risk-free trade to ERL, then auto break even, discretionarily sponsoring this 5-minute gap based off of overall narrative, as well as ES inversing its 1 hour. Psych is pretty fire. We have a change in the state. We have heavy displacement. We have LR to target. We have true manipulation. Let's watch this trade play out. Yeah, unfortunate. We have conflicting DOLs, discretionally sponsoring a 5-minute. I know exactly why this trade lost, but that is typically why I like to go sit out of these days. If we resweep and then we run to my DOL and be so pissed, yeah, like that's insane. There's no reason for this resweep. It's not even aligned with time, so that's just kind of unfortunate. Now at this point, this would be a break-even trade again. Let's see if we would have gotten the 1-to-1. Yes, we would have gotten the 1-to-1. Really unfortunate. I honestly don't have too much to say about that. This was a completely unnecessary resweep. And while we do have conflicting DOLs, there was no reason for us to go run through that 15-minute and then run lower. ES didn't take anything new. If anything, it like almost inverse this 5-minute gap, and then we start to run lower. I don't know. I don't know how to phrase it. It's not necessarily statistical, but it's not necessarily avoidable, right? Like, you look at this as a risk-free trade 100%, and it 100% makes sense for this to be a risk-free trade. But at the same time, you should kind of be off when you have data, as well as like a reason to go higher, and then you just have conflicting, like, ES is inversing this 1 hour, but you still have data at your stop, so both are kind of showing different things. We do have this clear AMD, which is very nice. This resweep, again, for the 15th time, is unnecessary. This is kind of a stupid loss to take. Would I take this live market? I don't know. It felt kind of forced. You can tell I was hesitating to take it. Maybe, maybe not. I don't like how we've swept out. Like, if this swing was higher, I probably would take it live market. Basing it off one swing is crazy, but I don't know. This, like, it could have absolutely been better. I gave it an A-. And, yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure what else to add about that one. If you're newer to trading, this is statistical, 100%. If you're more experienced in trading, this is an avoidable loss. And, yeah, I'm gonna high time frame journal, and then we will come right back. All right, journaling is done. Let's play out the rest of price, and then we will see what we get presented with. I'm not going to take anything else today. We now have an SMT at those highs. We've just taken ERL. We have no accumulation. Any shorts here would be bad. Yeah, nothing to end off the day. We just kind of run higher. Only thing... Oh, what was I going to say? I completely forgot. I don't even know. I forgot what I was going to say. There was something to add about this trade. Maybe I'll remember it. I'm going to build the skeleton, and then we'll talk about the skeleton and head into the next day. All right, so skeleton of the day. 9:30 opens higher into a 15-minute. We did this on both assets. Then we distribute, showing bearish intent to lower prices. 9:45 opens lower again, resweeps, then begins to accumulate right here. 10 a.m. continues with this accumulation. Nothing is too clear yet. We could sweep out lows and go to highs. We could sweep out highs, go to lows. 10:15 then gives an obvious stop hunt into a 15-minute on NQ and a 5-minute unsponsor on ES. This is like an eval trade, simply not A++ because of conflicting DOLs, as well as you've already taken your close DOLs for the day. You are only going to be correct with this trade if overall bias is bearish. This fails due to an unnecessary resweep and then prints lower, hence it being an eval trade, not an XFA trade. Again, this is not something I would want to be taking on lives, but I took it for the backtesting video because why not? Make it entertaining a little bit. Does not play out though. I don't really have too much to add here other than, like, I think the thing that kind of removed so much conviction was this single swing. Like, we only are targeting 2 swings now. Like, you can essentially take out all of this accumulation right here because there's no swings to target. You're just kind of targeting 2 swings. Like, if you think about how many swings you're targeting to eliminate the accumulation zone, it's like the same thing as basically targeting, I don't know, the same thing as targeting, like, this is your LR, right? Like, there's not really a whole ton of LR, and this is probably even higher quality LR because this is 3 swings, as well as, like, you're kind of trending upwards. Like, I don't know, LR literally you can base your trades off of LR essentially, right? Like, obviously you need high time frame narrative, but your low time frame can all be based off of LR, and I don't know, yeah. I still think that this resweep is unnecessary, but this is also a very avoidable loss. 10:30 then continues a distribution down to ERL, then chops at the bottom, right down here, and 10:45 begins our distribution higher. I got nothing else to add here. I'm going to screenshot this, throw it in the journal, and we'll do one last day of price action. All right, so coming into the last day, not too much going on. Leaning a little bit more bullish just because we're still distributing out of this weekly gap on ES, still distributing out of this daily gap on NQ. I would still want to go see prices higher, but this is really bad PA. Like, this is really, really choppy. We are disrespecting this 4 hour on ES, but we're slowly just accumulating now. We don't really have any key levels here. We have this open 1 hour on NQ, and this is like the closest thing I can get to a key level on ES. There's literally nothing over here. Everything has already been ran through. So I have a 1 hour intermediate low marked out. I guess you could take this 30 minute intermediate low too as a key level. Matter of fact, we'll move this up a little bit. 15 minutes, not a whole lot going on. I would like to see an open low high close, but I don't really think we have a strong enough key level to get an open low high close, so we'll see. I'm not really expecting a trade today. Okay, so we're uncorrelated in the open. That's pretty sick. Got a whole lot of nothing going on. Okay, here we go. We did tap into that 15, but we don't have anything on ES, so I'm not going to be taking anything here. Yeah, no 5 minute or anything, so I'm not going to be taking anything here. I would want to just go see this 15 minute, hopefully generate some liquidity on the way down. Maybe that could be what we're doing right now. Do we tap into something on ES now? Nope, still nothing. I'm just going to mark this out. We have like quadruple equal highs over here, so if we get a bullish trade, I wouldn't hate it. We have 3 equal highs and then a relative equal high. We also have 10 a.m. news. I forgot to mention that. Okay. Tap into 3 minutes. We have no 4 minutes, no 5 minute. Yeah, so I want to go see this 3 minute inversion. What time does this candle close? Oh, this one just closed. Okay, I'm gonna play out one more 3 minute. Nothing. One more 3 minute. Okay, now I'm kind of expecting data. I'm hoping data prints a wick on both sides, and then we take out the lower one and trade up to the higher one. Perfect. Perfect. Wait on key level. Yeah, this is like brutal. We have no key level here, so I can't even really take anything if I wanted to. We have like strong draws above, but at this point, we don't have anything that tells me we're gonna go reverse right here, so just kind of have to play price out, watch the chop. Let's see what happens. Yep, runs lower. And we get a whole lot of nothing for the rest of the session. I'm going to journal these trades, but that's going to be the end of the video. I'm not even going to make a skeleton for today because there is literally not a single trade that I can even go over. Everything today had something very clearly wrong with it, and I appreciate you guys if you stuck around this long. Yeah, probably not the most entertaining video in the world, but got the job done. A little bit of sauce in here.